action rolls on here in UWO as the leader of the regime, Merc, makes his way to the ring.
Now, James, I gotta tell you, I'm a huge proponent of Mercsism. I've been studying up on Mercsism and everything that the program offers and everything that the ideology consists of. And I'm on board with this guy. This guy knows exactly what he's talking about.
I never thought a guy from Choctaw would be a Mercsist.
Oh, man, sometimes you just get into different things in life. Sometimes, the internet's a wonderful place, James. You should try it.
His opponent tonight, the massive legend, Gunmetal Gray. It's been a minute since we've seen Gunmetal Gray here in a UWO ring, but we're excited to have him back, and what a match this is going to be, taking on the Mercsist leader, the leader of the regime, as you might say, glory be Merc?
Glory be to the Mercsist regime, James. Thank you for finally getting on board. See, I knew you had a little bit of intelligence in you. I knew you had it.
We'll have to discuss the tenets of Marxism later, but I at least catch your drift.
Well, I'm sure we'll be discussing the tenets of Marxism throughout the entirety of this match because they are going to be showcased in 1080p HD glory live with Unified Wrestling Oklahoma. It's so incredible for Drake Gallows or Brent Wall or whoever's in charge of this company to bring Merc into this great place that we have, VFW 9265.
Then we also need to point out real quick before the action gets underway, Walker, we have a special guest referee for this contest, Ricky Wingrave.
Well, so we say special guest referee, but he is actually only contracted as a referee nowadays, of course. That is an order by Brent Wall. You have to know that Ricky Wingrave wishes he was competing inside the squared circle right now, but we're keeping the man employed.
A job is a job. There's a job to do, and Ricky Wingrave is the man to do it, says Brent Wall, and he is going to be doing that job right here as Merc takes on Gunmetal Gray. Headlock early in this one. Gunmetal Gray trying to send him off before eating a big shoulder tackle there from Merc, only getting a 1 count. We're still early in this contest, Walker. It's going to take more than that to knock the massive legend out of this contest.
Well, if there's anyone who knows exactly how to find what's going to take the massive legend out of the contest, it is Merc. This man is trained at the Wrestle One Dojo in Japan. He has competed at Korakuen Hall. He's competed in Arena, Mexico, and now he's live in VFW 9265.
A world-traveled competitor is Merc, having worked alongside names like Keiji Muto, the great Muta in Japan, and Ultimo Guerrero, and many other CMLL stars in Mexico. He brings that Marxist movement around the world, and it finds him around an arm drag from Gunmetal Gray, and another one. Gunmetal Gray just continuing to work that arm. A bit of a experience shown from Gunmetal Gray, even though the Marxist leader still has the experience advantage in this one.
This is the 43rd tenet of Mercsism, the concept of never giving up. Merc might look like he's in a down and out position right now, but Merc is the one professional wrestler to have taught me never give up. And I learned something new from this man every single day, James. He's incredible.
Might be dealing with some long-term amnesia there, Walker, but the tenets of Marxism still remain, and that armbar still remains, courtesy of Gunmetal Gray. Hooking the legs around the neck. I said that not only restricts your ability to move your neck and upper body, you're having the blood choked from your brain. You're being oxygen starved. As this hold is being applied, Gunmetal Gray near the ropes, though I'm not sure if he's aware enough to realize just how close those feet are.
I have a lot of appreciation for Gunmetal Gray, but this does speak to the in-ring inexperience of the competitor. But just as I'm saying that, look what happens.
Sliding out of those legs and getting a headlock of his own. You see Merc struggling, but he gets that hammerlock applied now. Gunmetal Gray now having his face exposed to the crowd, being mocked as he's in this hammerlock.
We tend to refer to it as shunning, James.
Shunning. I'll slowly pick up on this. Gunmetal Gray with forearms there, stunning the leader of the regime. Now eating a boot, courtesy of the massive legend. I've got to ask you now, Walker, as we see one applied here on the leader of the regime, where does the regime stand on rear chin locks?
You know, the regime does appreciate a good rear chin lock, especially when it's cinched in right and tight like that.
Like being applied on the Mercs leader.
You know, I think it could be a little better by Gunmetal Gray. Maybe that's something they could talk about a little afterward. Merc can invite Gunmetal Gray to a couple of training sessions and teach him up on a good rear chin lock. But yes, the Mercs' regime does appreciate a nice, tight rear chin lock.
Regime also appreciates well-placed kicks to the back like we just saw, courtesy of Merc.
You talked about that Kaiji Muto, you know, inspiration, if you will, the Wrestle One Dojo training. We are seeing it in full force right now with these kicks from Merc. See, now you can join in on it, James. You can shun him now.
This is the shunning.
The shunning takes place throughout the entirety of the match, but especially with those kicks. And when the Mercs' leader says to shun, you might as well do it.
Mercs' regime raining down a chop on the chest of the massive legend. Gunmetal Grayson into the corner, now delivering a boot, coming off for a crossbody, but caught. What's Merc gonna do with him? Fall away slam, doing a complete flip. Was Gunmetal Gray now being pinned by Merc? Only a 2 count.
Gunmetal Gray might want to signal an SOS after that slam. That was absolutely devastating from the Mercs' leader.
I believe we're seeing another shunning courtesy of the leader of the regime. Keeping the loyalists in line, as he says. But what's he got in mind here? Gunmetal Gray sliding out from underneath and dropping Merc's face across the top rope, perhaps rearranging the look of the regime.
Potentially so, but it'll always be, it can be moved back. All right, we have fantastic medical staff. Either way, the Mercs' regime is in full effect right now. Even if it doesn't look like it, it's in the air. You can smell it, James, and it's palpable, and it smells so good.
The regime has medical benefits?
Yeah, we'll talk about that after the show.
Well, Merc might need to look into those as he's being choked out by Gunmetal Gray on those ropes. He's going to need to rely on all of those tenets of Mercsism to find the power to carry on against the massive legend who's laying a massive beatdown on Merc right now.
Listen, changing your name or having a massive moniker will not change what the record books say about you. Your win-loss record still stays the same, and I have to admit, Gunmetal Gray, his win-loss record hasn't looked too great as of recent. Merc, on the other hand, he's been on the upswing. He's been on the uprise.
What those losing ways can do, one of two things for you. They can teach you, and they can put that chip on your shoulder, which is what Gunmetal Gray is going to prove tonight.
An 11-year veteran of the sport is Merc. Gunmetal Gray, though, beautiful Northern Lights suplex there from Gunmetal Gray.
Gunmetal Gray is feeling himself now, begging Merc to get up from the center of the ring.
Merc knows exactly where he is at all times.
Big boot into the corner, into the chest of Merc. The massive legend has got to stay on top of the leader of the regime if he wants to come out on top. There's one floating over. Looks like is that a dragon sleeper he's got applied?
Yeah, it looks like he has him in that seated guillotine positioning there, James.
He's got him down, got that forearm wrapped around the throat, trying to grapevine those legs around the body. Merc, he's standing up with Gunmetal Gray.
This is the power of the regime.
The regime, mighty and powerful, on display as our referee Ricky Wingrave begins the standing 10 count. Both men wallowing around on the ground in agony.
It's a tough position for both competitors to be in. I mean, truly, we have gone on and on about how fast-paced these matches tend to be between Merc and with Justin Gray separately. Now you put both men in the same ring, and you are going to have a barn burner of a matchup, and I do say so myself, that's exactly what we're seeing.
That frenetic energy being brought at all times by both athletes. It's really going to be an endurance test of who can bring that energy the longest. Now.
Beautiful dragon suplex. I mean, that one was taught to him directly by Muto himself, James.
Beautifully double underhooking those arms, almost like a chicken wing position into that suplex. Now going for a kick, turning Gunmetal Gray around. He is just a limp body standing up. That had to be sheer instinct alone. We saw Gunmetal Gray's lifeless body being redirected by Merc as he fell to the ground.
Definitely was not what I expected out of Gunmetal Gray. And, you know, I walked into this matchup singing the praises of Mercsism, and I'll continue to do that for the rest of the life that I live. But I will walk out tonight with a greater respect for Gunmetal Gray. Look at this.
Into the pinfall. 2 count again, says Ricky Wingrave. These guys have been going back and forth. Death Valley Driver. Into the pinfall again. 1, 2. Merc out at 2. Gunmetal Gray can't believe it. That Death Valley Driver. Perfect form on that walker.
Perfect form indeed. But I'm sure that the Merxis leader could have done it just a little bit better.
I'm sure you feel that. Gunmetal Gray's building up. What's he got in mind? He's going for a super kick to return the favor, but a boot upside the head courtesy of Merc.
Oh, he could be looking for that signature air raid crash.
And 2, 3. Gunmetal Gray falls to the leader of the regime. Glory be Merc. Doing a bit of redecorating here at VFW 9265.